Guys, we got the one and only Mr. David Shands in the studio, who is millionaire podcaster, calls himself the podcast king, man. This man has been doing it in and out through podcasting, man. Welcome to the show, man. How are
I
you?
am happy to be here, man. Big fancy iHeart office. I like it, man. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we appreciate you so much for coming, man. And let me just say, congratulations, man, on everything you got going on. I mean, I look up to you. And I've been watching. I've been in the midst for a couple months now. You know, my dad. You know, Dad first before you knew me, and Dad kind of got me into watching Social Proof and stuff. And we just started watching during the pandemic, and I mean, I've been hooked ever since.
Man, thank you. I appreciate you tuning in, man. It means a lot. You do some work, and you don't, you sit in front of a camera, and you don't know who's gonna see it in the moment that you're recording, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that even when you see numbers, you see, YouTube numbers or podcast downloads, it's a big number, but you never really know who's impacted by the listening until, I'm walking in the airport or I come here and you say, yo, I really appreciate it. I'm inspired. So I appreciate that, man. I really, really appreciate when someone can let me know what I'm doing is good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like you mentioned that meeting people and people been telling you like they've been watching you. What has been like the most heartfelt thing that you've heard somebody like say to you, like that you've like impacted their life?
I mean, life change. You know what I mean? Like people say you changed my life. I don't know how to qualify that though. I don't know if it's a courtesy because I think I've said that before. Man, you changed my life. No, I've never said that to anybody. Have I? Would I say it? Maybe. But we don't know where it's coming from. So you changed my life in terms of something was inspired by you. And maybe I have a different outlook on life. I'm not naive enough to think it's just me. It's probably them going on a journey of looking for something, and a part of that journey is them coming to the Social Proof podcast and being inspired. But it's all the same, man. It's you've inspired me. You changed my life because of you. I was in the airport getting off of a plane, and a guy said, yo, you're David. I'm like, yes, I am. And he said, yo, I never knew anything about trading before, but I watched one of your podcast interviews, and I took the person's course, and I learned how to trade, and I made $5,000. I'm like, yo, that's amazing. So
Wow.
Every story, bro, every story, yours that you just told me, is just as important because I don't know how I've affected you exactly, but the fact that I did, I'm pleased.
Yeah, of course. And so, like, when that happens, does that make you feel like a celebrity, like you a big star?
No. I mean, when people are talking to me, I know they're not saying me. It's the thing that I've done. They saw the episode. They couldn't see the episode without Reese. They don't know Reese to say, yo, Reese, you changed my life because he recorded it, edited it, put it out. So I don't take it as I'm changing someone's life. I did the thing that they enjoy. So that thing is helping them. So I don't see it as a me thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Got you. Okay, got you. So let me ask you this, man. You just had the podcast summit, right? Podcast summit down in Miami. It was big. It was huge. Thousands of people in one room, podcasters, aspiring podcasters, and then y'all had some dynamic people on stage, right? Where'd you get the idea for that?
Last year I did an event called Black Equity Con. The year before that, it was the pandemic those years, but before that I did the Social Proof Conference. I've been doing events my whole life. It's just I don't want to do any more general, not that I don't want to do any more because I may do some, but general entrepreneurship success events without a target, I'm just not super interested in right now. But the fact that I am in the podcast space and I'm teaching other podcasters how to podcast is the next natural thing. Instead of my small mastermind group of 30 people, it's 800, and it's the next natural move. So I'm going to do it again next year, and people are going to say, well, why did you do it this year? I'm like, well, I did it last year. I did smaller groups the year before that. I've been teaching podcasting. So we just got to keep moving forward on the idea, or I want to be known as the best podcast coach in the world. So the only way I can do that is I have to continue to keep coaching people. So it was phenomenal, man. It was phenomenal. I'm pleased.
Yeah, that's great. So why do you want to be the best podcast coach?
I mean, there's not many there. Period. There's not a lot of people who can teach. There's not a lot of people that can build a successful podcast and on top of that actually teach it. You know what I mean? Because some people are good at stuff, but they don't know how to teach it to other people. Or there's some phenomenal teachers, but the only reason they teach is because they can't build the thing. And I'm blessed enough to do both. So there's a space right now in the world where people want to be podcasters, but who's going to teach them? I don't necessarily want to be a real estate mogul or teaching people real estate. There's a million people that's going to be able to teach that. Or I don't want to teach people, there's a gap, right? So my whole career, I've been finding gaps. And I go into that gap. If there wasn't a gap, I wouldn't want to be the podcast king. But because there's not a lot of people doing it, and a lot of people that want to do it can't, I'm doing it. We're here.
Okay. Do you feel like since you've been doing it, you've been pretty successful at it?
Yeah, pretty successful.
Why do you feel that way?
Because people get results, and I know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I really, really know what I'm talking about. And information that transfers, not just I did it, so I'm telling you to do it. And it worked for me, but the things that I'm teaching are actually working for people. So that's why I say I'm successful at it, for sure.
Okay, so you've heard like success stories and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what's up, man. What's been like the best success story? Who's had like the most success since you've taught them?
We've had a few, but my man Finesser's Only Club, he was in my mastermind. And I can't say that I made him become successful. He became successful because he had a great concept. He became successful because he's good at it. He understands his audience, the aesthetics. This is why he's successful. But he wasn't in the game like that or making money, because he told me, until he got my mastermind. So again, I don't take credit for people's success, but he wasn't doing it before he got my mastermind. So I think me being even a small part of the journey is that's one testimonial. I got a bunch though. I got a bunch. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's good stuff. It's like it's always like a good feeling when you can like hear those stories and stuff of people like, you putting in the work and then other people applying the work that you taught them and going off to do their big things.
For sure. Yeah. Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah, of course. And you mentioned Mastermind. For like those who are listening who don't know, what exactly is a mastermind?
So a mastermind is like a smaller group of people. Well, I guess it could be a big group of people, but for my mastermind, it was a smaller group, higher ticket. So it's like $30,000 to be a part of it, but they get me on a regular basis, helping, shaping, coaching, mentoring, helping save years of lessons that I've learned over the years. I can just tell them to you right now. So and you're pretty much buying my brain. So I don't offer that mastermind right now.
Mm-hmm. And you said that's 30,000?
Yeah, it's 30,000.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't offer that mastermind right now, so this isn't a selling point. But I think part of the reason people become successful is because they invest that amount of money. So if you invest 30 grand, you're gonna listen to what I have to say. Right now, I have a smaller group mastermind. It's $1,000 for the year. And you get a comprehensive course of how to become a podcaster, all the things I know. My coach, CJ, is my partner in the course as well. My other partner, Carl, who has run all audio, video stuff for ET and built his brand up on the audio side. We're all in there teaching stuff. But also every first Friday of the month, we get together and we're doing Q&A. So that's a much cheaper mastermind. But I think because you invest a lot, you're willing to do what I ask you to do. But even at $1,000, there's some people it's only $1,000. So, I'm not going to really go hard at it. So
yeah. Okay. Got you. And so I wanted to put emphasis on the 30,000, right? I think a lot of people nowadays are scared of their money, right? Mm-hmm. Why do you think people are so scared to invest in themselves?
I've never done it. I mean, if you've never invested that type of money, people are nervous to get a house if they've never done it. So, listen, I would get used cars that I can pay for cash my entire life. I want to say it was 2013 or 2014 The first time getting a brand new car, I'm terrified of the payment. This isn't a $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 car that I just saved my money for.
Yeah.
It's a real investment. The car, $30,000. I think maybe like $35,000 or something like that. And I was terrified. But it's not because $30,000 is a lot for a car. It's just I've never done it before. I've never invested. So if you've never been on a date before, you'll be petrified. The first date or the first time you, I don't know, make love, were you terrified, Reese? You nervous? You didn't hear the stories? What could happen? No? You weren't nervous? I mean, some people, like, there's going to be a certain level of anxiety the first time you do anything. So there are some people that invest $1 million in their education. Look at a basketball player. I think they said LeBron invests $1 million in physical education a year.
Wow.
I think it was $1 million. Might have been more, but at least $1 million. A regular basketball player that's in college, they're not $1 million. You're like, yo, I'll never do that. But LeBron probably has some really good reasons why he does it. So, just nervous. You never did it.
So how do people get unnervous?
You were not nervous your first time making love, bro?
Be honest with us, Rick.
Was it? Unless she wasn't nothing special. She wasn't nobody special. Said she was not anyone special. That's crazy. I'm sorry. Let's get back to positivity.
No, you could, man. That was funny. So like if somebody nervous, right? Like how do they get out of that mentality? Like how do they just like go and just invest the money? Like
Increments.
How do you stop being nervous?
Increments. So the most I've ever invested was over $50,000 in a mastermind. But before I did that, I invested 20, I think. Before I did that, I did an event. It was a $5,000 weekend, which I'm like, yo, that's a lot of money. But I did the $5,000 and it worked out well. Before I did that, the first time buying a $1,000 course, it's a lot of money. So you have to be prepared. You have to know that it's an investment. And you quite possibly might not get what you think you're going to get out of it, especially if you don't do the work or you don't invest with the right person. So it's not I'm not recommending everybody just invest that type of money. You got to be prepared to do the work for that type. You got to vet the person that you're giving the money to. So a lot of scams out here too, bro.
Yeah, it is. I done definitely heard about it.
There's
some scams out there for sure. So we on this topic of money, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you've made so much money in podcasting, right? I mean, it's literally unbelievable. How did you do it?
It's extremely believable.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, well, yeah, I believe it. But, figure of speech. But.
We built an audience. Really focused on the show. For 2 years, I didn't make a dime. On YouTube for 10 years, I didn't make a dime. So I didn't even know you could make money from this kind of stuff. But eventually I kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And eventually YouTube paid. They paid me. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. And then I realized that you can make money. Then I started thinking about all the other ways you can make money. One of the cool ways I made money was through affiliates. Meaning, if you have I'm on your show right now, and I'll say, okay, go to My 7-Figure Blueprint. That's the website. Well, you could get a piece of that sale if somebody that's listening right now buys it. And then you make money. I've probably had 30 or 40 affiliates.
Wow.
So that's a cool way to make money.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. So so I want to ask you this, right? You said you were on YouTube for 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't make a dime, right?
Yep.
When people are not making money, or when you were not making money, how do you continue to keep going if you're not making any money?
Well, I think I was at an advantage because I didn't know you could make money. I was just doing it as marketing or promotion or doing a video and sending it to somebody else, and hopefully they like it. Yeah. So it wasn't I'm doing this so that I can make money, and if I don't make money, I'm going to quit. It wasn't that. I didn't even know you could make money. There was a surprise when I saw on the back end of the analytics that there was some money there. I said, whoa, how'd that happen? So if you're thinking, I'm doing this so that I can make money, it's going to be very, very challenging to keep going, especially if the money doesn't come right away.
Mhm.
But if you're doing it for the craft and you're doing it to get better, or someone teaches you how to make money through it, it's not as income focused. So of course you keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I tell people they need to be on YouTube. We on Instagram all day and we don't make a dime. So how do you stay motivated to keep posting on YouTube? I mean Instagram.
That makes sense. That does make sense.
You don't even
for
think you
sure.
can make money on that joint, right?
Yeah.
So you just keep getting better at it. And eventually I think anything you get good at, you'll be able to monetize.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. So with the Social Proof Podcast, man, you've like I said, we still on the topic of money. You've made tons of money with the Social Proof Podcast. What was it like when you made that first dollar?
I don't know if it was like a dollar that you frame and put it on the wall of your office. It was just, I was already an entrepreneur, so it was another stream of income. I was already entrepreneuring, so it's not like there's this glorious first dollar. It's like, yo, I made $1. It just kept building, bro. I don't know. I've always been an entrepreneur, so I'm just going after it. So the money comes, and then when you see a little bit of money, you're like, oh, let's push in, let's lean in to make more money. So
yeah, okay, definitely. You mentioned talk about entrepreneurship and stuff. You were at the Cheesecake Factory, transitioning into that. You were selling T-shirts and all that good stuff, man. Talk to us a little bit about that journey, right? You're on this journey. Did you kind of know the direction you was heading in, or did it just kind of just happen?
Again, I've always been an entrepreneur. And when I started working at the Cheesecake Factory, nothing changed about me being an entrepreneur. I just got a job, and I always had a job and something else going on. Always. There's always like some sort of side hustle.
Yeah.
And I started this t-shirt brand, Sleep is for Suckers, and it started working. Started selling shirts. People started liking it. It was catchy. But I don't know if it was the brand itself that caused me to be, like, air quote, successful at it. It was that I tried so many things, and it just so happened, this is my time. This is the thing that's going to work for me. Because I liked it, and I just kept going. And I just decided not to stop doing what I do, because that was my pattern. I'll start something, stop, start. I'm a good starter because I get excited about an idea. And people will support you in the beginning, but as you keep going in that idea, it gets a little more tough and difficult, and your friends and family aren't supporting because they already supported you. Now you got to go find other customers. And that causes people to get excited about something else that they can affect their inner circle and get approval from their inner circle. So I stopped relying on that model. And I said, I'm going to build this thing, and I'm just going to figure out a way to sell more T-shirts. So I was able to transition out of there. I worked at the Cheesecake Factory for 6 years. The last 2.5 years, I started the T-shirt brand, and I was able to leave October 1st, 2022. I became a full-time entrepreneur.
Wow. That's awesome, man.
No,
Congrats.
October 1st, 2012, full-time.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what's up, man. What? Quick question. What was your favorite thing on the menu?
It was a lot. Probably even to this day, it's Jamaican black pepper shrimp. The chicken Madeira was slamming. Chicken costoletta is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, I still remember them dishes, boy. Goodness gracious. The factory burrito, it's a lot.
Yeah. Favorite cheesecake?
Pineapple upside down cheesecake or the lemon raspberry.
That is so good.
Yeah.
I remember I had that for the first time like 2 years ago. That thing sing to you.
Amazing.
That's what's up, man. So I want to ask you what Sleep is for Suckers, right? That's your Instagram name. That was your T-shirt brand. What's the meaning behind that? What does that mean?
Well, at the point I was telling people, stop sleeping so much. It's not physically sleeping so much. So if you think about a 24-hour day, you're at work 8 hours, right? But it's not even just 8 hours, because you got to wake up about 2 hours before you got to get to work, right? So if you got to be to work at 9, you're probably going to wake up at 7, get dressed, brush your teeth, get in the car, on your way, depending on, who you are. But let's just say the commute is 30 minutes. Let's say you wake up 30 minutes, 8 o'clock, and 30 minutes you're out the door, 30-minute drive to work. You're at work by 9, right? So you're at work for 8 hours, from 9 to 5, but you woke up at 8. So 9 hours of awake time. Then you got to spend another hour getting in traffic. That's 10 hours. You go home and kind of relax with your family for a few hours, and then you just go to sleep for 8 hours. And some people sleep even longer than that. So if you're like, just the time of going from work to getting home is a 10-hour window, and then 8 hours of sleep, you literally have 6 hours to live your life every day. So where are you going to cut? You can't cut the job. You can't, I mean, you don't want to, you don't want even less time to actually live your life and hang out with your family and talk to your friends and scroll through Instagram. What else are we going to cut? We got to cut the sleep time. And my thought process was, if I could not sleep 8 hours and I can sleep 6 hours, and I take that extra 2 hours to do something meaningful, that's 2 hours every day, 14 hours a week, 56 hours a month to build something special. What can you build in 56 hours?
That is crazy.
Something special.
I ain't never thought about it like that.
I mean, it's math. It was the only subject I was good at.
Yeah.
Science, English, the numbers. I understand the numbers. But like, you're spending more time with your coworkers than you are with your family. And nothing wrong with it if you're building a life like that. Like because it's not like you're going to spend less time at being an entrepreneur than at work. It's not like that. You actually spend more time as a full-time entrepreneur than a job, right?
Yeah.
But if you want something, you gotta cut some time. So you can't get no more than 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
We got to cut something. So I was teaching people, stop sleeping. And then I realized, I got a little older, then I realized I really adore sleep. Like, I love it, bro.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm so attracted to sleep, bro. It's crazy. And I realized that I was not sharing the wrong message, but the word sleep can mean more than sleeping in a bed. There are some people that walk around all day, sleep. Like, you just go through the routine of life, and someone needs to come and wake you up and say, okay, now it's time for a change. Some people watch TV all day, sleep. Your eyes are open, but you're really asleep.
Yeah, you're not doing nothing.
You're not doing nothing. I don't know how long you worked here. How long you worked here?
8 months.
8 months.
Yeah.
There's somebody here right now. I don't know the person. I don't know their name, but they've been here for 20 years. They could have gotten a promotion, but for the last 20 years, they've been asleep. They just come to work and leave, come to work and leave, come to work and leave. They give a 4%, 2%. I don't know how those percentages work, but a percentage raise every single month, every single year, and they just take that. Wow. Sleep. So, interesting story. I am in, I think it was Ryan's. I can't remember the name. I think it was Ryan's.
Yeah.
You ever been to Ryan's?
Yeah, the buffet.
Yeah. You from here?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The biscuits?
Yeah.
Amazing.
What?
I'm in line, and they were out of biscuits, and we're waiting in front of the little oven area to get some more biscuits, and it's an older guy. Long story short, it's in my book. Long story short, I wound up talking to this guy, older gentleman. He said, long story short, he said, see that over there? That's my wife and my daughter. And my daughter has a daughter. So I'm here with my grandkids, and it's like amazing. I don't know how I got into the conversation, bro, but he starts telling me this story of how he worked his job for 40 years, 50 years, something like that. And I said, wow, you must have liked it. You've been at his job 50 years. He said, no, not really. He said, but he made a joke. He said, time flies when you're having fun. And he just laughed. He said, I said, but why stay there that long if you ain't like it? He said, you just get routine, bro. He said, I have two memories. He said, I have two memories from this time of me working. Two significant memories. He said, when my daughter was born, I got a couple of days off. I got a chance to hang with my family. I was just so in love with this little girl. So one was when my daughter was born. The other significant time was when her daughter was born, because I took a couple of days off and been able to be a grandfather. Yeah. And that story never left me, how routine can rock you to sleep. Yeah. So for 50 years, you remember two things. You remember two significant events in your life. And I'm not saying he doesn't remember everything, like getting married or a certain birthday or something tragic happened. Like, I'm sure you remember these, but there's two things that you can remember in your life's body of work that stand out for this particular conversation. You sleep.
Wow.
We have gifts, man.
Yeah.
That we need to be a part of something special.
For sure. So basically the message is get out the routine.
Yeah, for sure. Or just don't drift, bro. You read the book Outwitting the Devil?
No.
Read it. It's good. Outwitting the Devil. It is a good book. And they talk about one of the devil's greatest tricks is getting people to drift. Just drift.
Wow.
Just go through life and let life do whatever life does to them. And they don't go and like grab anything by the horns and say, this is what I'm going to make of this life of mine. We just let life take us wherever it takes us. Don't drift. But read that book. It's really good.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, I think Dad might got that book.
Yeah, he got it because we read it together as
okay for the community
in a book club. Yep.
Okay, great. That's good stuff, man. So, I mean, wow. Like, I think that's a good message there because I think when like just talking to people myself, you hear people say, "Oh, been there 20 years, 10 years, 30 years, and all that stuff," and no improvement.
Yeah,
it's like one.
Unless
mistake.
you've been there 20 years and you enjoyed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like you get to shape your life the way you shape your life.
Mm-hmm.
So you working, like me working at the Cheesecake Factory for 6 years, some of the best years of my life. I loved it.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I didn't like loathe going to work. I enjoyed it, man. Met some of my most significant people in my life during that time frame while I'm working at the Cheesecake Factory, man. I got so many memories. CJ, who's my mentor today, and he helped me leave the Cheesecake Factory. I remember him coming into the Cheesecake Factory and him buying T-shirts that I have to run to my car and go get. So I take his order, put the order in, run to my car, go get the shirts, come back in, give him the shirts. He pays me. I'll never forget that. I met Steve Harvey at the Cheesecake Factory, and I'm so nervous because I know he doesn't want to be talked to right now. And I had a brief 3-minute conversation with him. I'm sure he doesn't remember. I just remember so many times in my life, man. So I think you just get to shape your life however you want. Don't let anybody else tell you whether you should be an entrepreneur or work a job, or don't let someone else dictate how you shape your life. But whatever you do, shape it. Don't let your life just become formed, and that's because that's what you live in. You got to shape it the way you want to shape it. So I think it's important.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's good because at the end of the day, we control our own destiny.
100%.
We control it ourselves. So where we want to go, we go.
100%.
And that's just what it is. You talked about CJ a lot, man. So CJ, obviously, big mentor to you, has meant a lot to you and stuff. What do you think? Like, what is the most powerful thing that you can say he's like helped you with or done for you or done with you?
Just think. Don't just be kind of rudimentary, or if that's the word I'm looking for, or regular. Just think. Like there's a solution to it. Just think. I remember sitting in his office one day. This was years ago, maybe 10 years ago or so. And he said, the way I approach business is I'm trying to think of what no one's thought of, or I try to challenge the norm. He said, why do cars still have 4 wheels? He said, nobody came up with a concept to put a car on 1 wheel and it just drives that way and it's more balanced or something like that. I remember that like it was yesterday. And I'm like, a man that would even pose that type of question thinks differently. And I'd imagine that Elon Musk is doing whatever he's doing at one point and looks and says, yo, I hate going to the gas station. Why has no one built a car that doesn't need gas? And maybe he got home and his kid is playing with a remote control car and he said, why can't we just do it like that with a battery? Just think. There's no like big podcast events. There are big podcast events, but not us teaching the way we're teaching. There's really only 2 other podcast events, which I'll be at one this week. Shout out to the podcast movement. I rock with them.
Okay. That's what's up.
And I'm like, yo, nobody's it's not predominantly black, and I need to do something for our culture.
Yeah.
Why is it not existing? Because I ain't thought about it yet. So that's why I did it.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's one of the major things I got from it.
Okay. That's what's up, man. It's always good to like have a good mentor and just have like, these mentors in your circle and stuff. Like, can you tell people how to go about seeking a mentor?
Find somebody that has accomplished something, and I think mentors and coaches are different. So a mentor is somebody you want to model yourself after. A coach is somebody who's going to like pull results from you. A mentor is not responsible for getting results. They're responsible for the inspiration or the motivation. Good conversations here or there. A coach they're responsible for conditioning you. So a mentor is typically a friend, family, somebody that's like close to you. A coach is somebody you pay because they're responsible for your success.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
You start looking, start asking questions, start talking to people that are successful, and you'll find a mentor.
For sure, man. I love that. So I want to talk to you about this, right? So mentor, somebody who, helps people, kind of guides them in a direction, right? You've helped a lot of people. What can you say is the difference between the people that you've helped that have been successful and the people that you helped that have not been so successful?
My first answer would be not doing the work, not really going in and doing the work. But my second answer would be sometimes it's just not their time yet. You know what I mean? Like I'm supposed to tell you something and you don't do it. And then somebody else tells you something, you don't do it. And we would look at this person like, oh, they just don't follow directions. They don't really want it bad enough. But that fifth person might come across and they say it in a way that helps you remember all the stuff that you've been taught already, and that person's able to pull the success out of you or get you to do something. Yeah. You know what I mean? So everybody has their journey, bro. Everybody has their path. It's not like I can say, well, the people that succeeded did exactly what I said. The people who didn't. Because there are some people that did exactly what I said, but there's something else inside of them that won't allow them to become successful. Maybe they did what I said to do, but the way they did it, they didn't put their heart in it. Or they're trying to copy exactly what I said and not being true to themselves, and nobody wants a copy. And if they'd have done what I said in their own way, they could have become successful because other people would love it because they are something that no one's ever seen before. So there's a lot of reasons people don't fail, that people don't succeed. And there's not one answer.
Yeah. So why do you feel like people don't listen?
They're not ready to, or they don't want to. Or some people just want validation. They don't want answers. They have an idea in their mind, and their objective is to get validated for their own ideas, not to find the right answer. So I don't know. It's a bunch of reasons, bro. A bunch.
Wow. Gotta listen, man.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. It helps, I mean, and then like going back to the thing that you said about like multiple people telling you just like the same thing, then somebody says it different. I'm a victim.
Yeah, we all are, bro. We all are.
Yeah.
I used to go to schools a lot, man, and if I heard it once, I heard it 1,000 times, where the teacher says, I've been telling them the same thing, and they just, well, you're the teacher.
Yeah.
Who listens to their teacher? They're listening to somebody cool, a cool entrepreneur coming here with his hat back and some Jordans. They're listening to me. But if you didn't tell them first, it wouldn't mean as much. The first time I'm hearing the information, it doesn't resonate. But when I take it after they heard it 3-4 times, then it all makes sense. So we're all a part of the puzzle of someone's success. That's why, again, I don't take credit for anybody's success. I may be a part of the journey, but you need every part of the journey.
Yeah.
For someone to be successful.
Most definitely. That's so true, man. And then speaking of success, right? You've been doing this thing lately, the hot seat, right?
Yeah.
Putting people in the hot seat. For those of y'all who don't know, I was one of the first people that was in the hot seat. Matter of fact, didn't even know what was going on. They just kind of sprung it on me at the last minute.
Yo, you were the first one. You were actually we didn't have, it wasn't even called anything yet.
Yeah.
You were the idea.
Mm-hmm.
He just jumped in the chair. And I could see his eyes like, yo, why is he talking to me like that? And then we start laughing at the end. He's like, oh, okay, that was weird. But yeah, it wasn't even, you were just, I think we were talking about it, and I'm like, all right, come up here.
Yeah.
Or you just walked in or something, I don't know. But yeah.
I think I was just sitting there. It was a whole bunch of people it was a good amount of us in the room, and he just randomly picked me.
Yeah, we all came up with the idea in that room. And yeah, man, so you were the first, bro.
Why you pick me though? Just curious.
I don't know. It's supposed to work out that way.
Okay.
Maybe you can handle it. I don't know. Maybe you needed to hear it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, but I would tell you with the hot seat and stuff, I can say it actually helped for real. Like it made me think about some stuff, because when you were asking me the questions, and I was like wow, like I don't have this.
Yeah.
Like I don't have the plan that I need to have in place.
For
like
sure.
I don't know the numbers that I need to know, you know, and so it actually made me go back and do some real thinking and get some stuff done.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I personally appreciate
Glad
that,
it helped.
man. Yeah. and you've done this with a couple of people and stuff. And so with the hot seat, why the hot seat? Because I haven't seen anybody doing anything like this.
That's why.
This is new.
That's why. Nobody's doing it.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking of what's not, you got to think of every interview that you're watching right now. It's of the person's story and the person trying to make an impactful bar or statement. Even right now, you're interviewing me because you want to inspire the audience. You think my story can do that. But it's a million podcasters doing this. It's a million interviews going on just like this. Different questions, different, you got your own style, right? But who's interviewing people who ain't got it all together? Nobody. So when everyone's going left, you just go right. When everyone goes right, you go left. Too many people going left and right, you just go another direction. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm doing it. You know what I mean? It's fun.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's funny. I think it's entertaining, and I think by you doing those interviews, because I've been looking in the comments and some of them, I think by you doing those interviews is actually helping out other people. That's the viewers too that's watching.
For sure, 100%.
So I think it makes everybody else think about things that they could do better in their business and all that good stuff. So
absolutely.
So yeah, good. Yeah, definitely good stuff there. And then of course you got the hot seat. You got other podcasts on your Social Proof Network. You got Full Transparency with Donnie Wiggins, who's also your co-host on Social Proof and stuff. Why a podcast network? Or you have all these different podcasts like Growing Pains and all that stuff. Why other podcasts on your network?
I'm the podcast king. So it's if you think of what I want to be the number one podcast coach in the world. So for whatever you want, you got to put ancillary things around it that support that want. So I can't be the best podcast coach if I don't have a podcast myself. But anybody that's a podcast coach should have a podcast. But not all of them are going to have a podcast course or put on podcast conferences or help other podcasters put on podcast workshops or have other podcasts on their network or have a podcast studio. I've got them all because I'm surrounding myself what I want with the ancillary stuff that supports who I want to become. So it's really hard to deny. You can't really fight back when we say, yo, you're not the podcast king. Who called you that? Well, I made up the phrase. But it's hard for people to fight with me, especially when I do all of the things that other people aren't doing. Yeah. So who else is doing it? So, yeah, definitely self-proclaimed podcast king.
Are you owning that?
But it's hard to fight
with.
Sure.
Yeah, you definitely owning the title, man.
Yeah.
Just watching everything you're doing, like I said, it's amazing, and I mean it's inspirational.
Yeah.
I think because of you, I got in a podcast, and I was because people was like, Tyrik, you should do a podcast. It go back to that thing where people telling you should do something. And I heard it from you, and I actually did it.
Good. I love it.
Yeah. So I mean, like you said, that's just how it is and stuff. So with let's talk about some of what is besides Social Proof. What's the best podcast? Who's doing the best on your network?
Donnie.
Full
For
transparency.
sure. Yeah, full transparency is crazy. I really like the energy around Growing Pains. It's building. It's building. They got a lot of work to do, but it's building. Dewan just had like a clip that got like 4 million views on human behavior mastery. So it's all exciting, man. It's all exciting.
Yeah, and then you mentioned Growing Pains, right? So and that's Gen Z's, you know, and stuff. You know, I had an opportunity to be a guest on that. Bro, why you ain't asked me to be a host, man?
I didn't even know you. I didn't know you, bro. That's the short answer. I didn't even know you.
Yeah, man. Cause I don't think I was actually tapped in until maybe 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Like really tapped in and like coming to like the table.
Yeah, and this group of people is people that was like already around me. Like Zell's my videographer. Jada would just come up all the time. Trey was doing my flyers. Yanni was doing my my Instagram clips. So like these are young people around me that I consider myself mentoring. So I put them all together. Yeah. So
nice. And then I know at the summit there was that little kid that did the interview with you,
he
right?
was good.
And I mean, you doing a kiddie one? I mean,
maybe. But I gotta figure out a way to do this relationship thing, man, because relationship podcasts are taking off.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
But I gotta still put it in the frame of business, kind of. So I'm gonna figure it out.
Okay, yeah, definitely gonna be looking out for all that stuff. And I know you said when we were at the summit, you said you're gonna do another summit in 8 months.
Yeah, give me 8 months. I'm working on it now.
Okay,
I'm working on that.
Yeah.
Tell iHeart to sponsor it, bro. Tell them to give me some money, like 200,000.
Okay, I'm gonna put that word in there.
Yes,
sure.
Tell them. Let's just do it together.
Yeah, maybe we can get the CEO to speak at the.
Yes, bro. Money, and he can speak and do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
some money.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's set that up.
Yeah,
figure out what strings we can pull and get that set up.
Let's
that'd
do
be that'd be hot, yo.
Let's do it.
People will love that. So that'd be awesome, man. Well, like I said, I appreciate you so much for coming on this, talking to us about your journey and stuff and podcasts and all this good stuff for International Podcast Day. Let me ask you this: why do people need to start a podcast?
There's so many different reasons. One, people are comfortable listening to podcasts. It's just another way to build trust with your audience. You really can't build trust with like 60-second clips on Instagram. But if they can listen to you for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour every single week, they'll start putting you in their routine. And then you become their favorite voice. It helps with your ability to communicate because you have to continue to communicate on a regular basis. It's, you have a practice that's forcing you to do it. It helps you become knowledgeable in your particular area because you have to come up with something to talk about every single week. So there's so many different ways. And when you really tap in and figure it out by going to my7figurepodcast.com, you'll learn how to monetize it, and it gets real.
Okay. And repeat that website again. my7figurepodcast.com. It's a community, so it's a course. It's a very, very comprehensive course teaching you every aspect that we could think of in terms of podcasting, but also we have a group and we have a conversation every single month where I'm on there live, CJ's on there live, Carl's on there live, and you can get educated and be connected to us. Nice. So, I love that, man. Yep. That's fantastic. Like I said, congratulations to you again on everything you got going on, man. The story is awesome. The story is very impactful. The story is inspiring. So I already know the viewers are inspired, and hey, they're gonna take this, and we gotta have some new podcasters come out of this interview.
Let's get it.
So yeah, man, appreciate your time. Any last words you want to leave? Inspirational nuggets?
No, just stop stopping. Talking to a specific person, stop stopping. You start and get excited, and then you reach some sort of friction or barrier, and that's when you turn around and do something else. So just stop stopping, man. Make sure you tap into the Social Proof Podcast. Listen to the Social Proof Podcast. It is the #1 podcast for entrepreneurs. It is a life-changing experience. So Social Proof Podcast. Let's get it.
Cool. And where can people follow you?
Instagram, Sleep is for Suckers with the number 4, SLEEPIS, the number 4, SUCKERS, and Social Proof Podcast.
Awesome. Yeah. Make sure
sir.
y'all tune in to the Social Proof Podcast. Appreciate y'all so much for listening. It's been Tyrik Wynn. Catch y'all next time.